Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hardheaded. I am your host today, Troy, 3-Shot Trussell. Yeah, that's good, Chet. Chet just threw up a number 3 with his hands for all you listeners.
It was a ninja move for our audio listeners, and you just let them know what I did. I was doing something for our video watchers.
Well, I always want our audio listeners to be included in everything that's going on here at the...
They're much larger than our video.
That's right. But they're growing.
Much larger.
But the video crowd is growing.
Small. So I'm throwing them a little something every now and then.
Okay. Look out for more things being thrown your way.
There might be some secret codes.
Who's that? He hasn't been introduced yet.
Oh, yes. That is Mr. Matt Amos.
I haven't been here for a while, so we're good.
Yeah. I am here with Matt Amos and Chet Sears. Today, we're going to talk about what is on Matt's mind. We're also going to dive into the top 3 movies or TV shows that are currently playing on Prime, Amazon Prime Video. So,
looking forward to it.
Then we're going to have a good word by Chet.
Yep.
To wrap us up. So, Matt, start us off, man. What is on your mind today?
So what's on my mind is I got another treat for you.
Yeah.
And then kind of how you suffer through this, if there's any suffering at all, depends on whether I even have time to go into what's on my mind. Or maybe I just talk about it while you sit over there and sweat.
Either way.
This is weird.
What?
What's on your mind? I want to make Troy suffer by eating a hot pepper.
Yes.
I've been on his mind for a full week.
He's like, I don't even know if it's hot. So
this is true. So this is one that it came in a package that just says super hot surprise.
That was for our video listeners too.
Video watchers.
Our video watchers.
So.
Idiot.
It doesn't smell hot.
It doesn't smell hot, right? My daughter took a bite of it and said it doesn't have any more heat than
one like it. That one doesn't have a bite missing out of it.
Right. Not that specific one, but to me it looks like a Scotch bonnet, but I don't know exactly what it is. It could be a cross of.
You want to try some too, Chet?
I'm good, man.
Well,
he only brought one.
Yeah, I only did bring one because
we could certainly split this.
Go ahead.
If it's not hot, you can split it.
All right, here we go. Countdown, drum roll.
I mean, I don't even know if I'd count
3,
it down. I would just get it over with.
2, 1.
Because I don't think it's going to be hot.
It's not hot. It's not bad hot.
It's a little spicy.
Yeah. All right, you better have something else on your mind because he just tore through that thing like it was a bell pepper.
Is it sweet?
No, it's not a sweet pepper. It's got some creeper heat coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like death.
Good.
Yet. Unless it's like a super creeper. It's not as hot as that last little...
The Thai chili
the
pepper?
little Thai chili?
It's not as hot as the Thai chili. It's about the same burn, if that makes sense. Chet just took a bite.
You playing with me? You fooling me?
No.
I'd put that in salsa.
Yeah. That's pretty
Which
good.
I just did because before I came here, I made a mash of...
This tastes good. It tastes good. And it has heat. That's a good pepper.
That's good.
Good. So it must have been crossed with something else that wasn't overly hot.
I don't know.
Just on accident.
Or maybe Troy is just a stud.
But I do have
Could be.
I do have a surprise super hot Reaper. And I know those are Reapers that are growing now. So maybe down the road we'll have one of those for you. But
Sure. That's not bad at all. Like it's already going away.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've got with the mash that I just made, I added those in for a little extra kick. But
What's a mash? I don't understand what you're talking
so
about.
mash is basically
Like a relish, right?
kind of like a relish, but you just you put your peppers into a blender or a food processor, and then add what I'm doing with this blend, I guess, because I'm making kind of a buffalo style sauce. Is I took about 2.5% salt to weight of pepper ratio, and so you put those into food processor, put your salt in, and then blend it up, and then put it in a jar and let it ferment for the next 2-3 weeks. I'll probably go about a month. And what it's called a mash. And so then when you actually go to make your hot sauce, you put that into like a food mill, grind it down even further, get it more fine. And then you can take what you've ground out, put that in your hot sauce, and then take the mash and actually freeze those in little cubes. And you can throw those in chili for a added extra flavor.
My chili doesn't need extra flavor. But why aren't you making hot pepper jelly? Like, have you ever had?
I've had
a charcuterie board, and some of the cheese is a soft cheese that's coated in hot pepper jelly, and you dip a little your cracker in there with that jelly, hot jelly, and then you put some like a pickle and then
some cream cheese,
a little salami on top of that, maybe an almond on top of that.
It has just never appealed to me. I never really liked it, so that's why I'm not making it.
Appealed pepper.
You don't peel this guy.
Huh? Yeah, you do.
Peter Piper,
I do it all the time.
Pickled peppers.
There's no peeling in that.
And then he peeled them.
I'll take a pepper and char it on my gas stove, and then peel the skin off of it.
Why would you do that?
They were roasted pepper, but you don't have the skin in.
Okay.
In it.
Well, the longer you cook them too in something, they come off anyway, and they look like little miniature toothpicks.
I think they call that blanching if you were to do that in water. Right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
We used to blanch our catawba worms.
Blanche was one of the Golden Girls.
Okay. I started it. Blanche reminded me of fishing. Blanche
He went away from you real quick.
She was the one with all the men all the time, and then the oldest one would give all the off-color jokes about her. Going
Thanks
off
for
with
filling
the
us
men.
in on the Golden Girls, man.
You're welcome, dude. I used to watch that with my gran all the time. Love it.
But anyway, so like when I picked these, there was, I don't know, I probably had to toss over 100 chilies into the compost pile because of
Infestation.
overripe. I've been gone for 2.5 weeks, something like that, and just haven't been able to pick anything. And so did that, threw all those chilies out, and what I ended up with was just enough to make about, I don't know, a quarter of a jar, like a mason jar.
But this salsa you're making is just like a conglomeration of all the peppers that you had that were ripe.
No, so it's just there's 2 of those in there because I didn't know exactly how hot they were, and then it's a majority of Ring of Fire and Cayenne. So
The Ring of Fire and Cayenne will be hotter than that, though.
100% they're hotter than that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I added 2 of the one fresh Cayenne and 1 Ring of Fire to my last Creole that I did. So I did the homemade Creole. It was almost too hot for my wife to eat, and it was about right for me, and a little bit not hot enough for Clara, strangely enough. But yeah, but the infestation wise, so I had to throw a bunch of those away just because they were overripe, starting to dry up on the vine, whatever. And then grasshoppers this year. Have you guys noticed the amount of grasshoppers?
No, but
It is insane.
no, the level of insane, and I don't know, maybe it's equal to what I have experienced a biblically proportionate plague of crickets in my life. Were you at Tech when that happened? No. If you don't know, then
I
you
don't
don't.
remember.
I mean, dude, it stunk. because of all the dead crickets. That you would walk, like anywhere there was light at night, they would get like in a shadow right next to the street light. So if like there was a tree and there was a shadow from a limb cast onto the sidewalk and you're just walking through and you stepped into that shadow, it just pop, 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 pop. And then you look back and your footprints are in the sidewalk of dead crickets. Crickets everywhere.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't there for that. I don't remember that.
It was a plague. I'm telling you, it was like if your truck was parked in a parking lot with a street light right there, in which I did this, like everything under your truck where the shadow was looked like it was moving. You couldn't see through the crickets.
So this grasshopper infestation isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But it's worse than I remember in previous years. And I don't know if it's just because we've been so dry,
Yeah.
that's the reason or what. But yeah, it's kind of, they're putting a hurting on a lot of the tomatoes and a lot of the a lot of the peppers, which I didn't realize that grasshoppers would eat peppers, but they do. And then the other one putting a hurting on it is rabbits.
Eating peppers. Hot peppers?
No, just
Leaves.
All like the tomatoes, they're just decimating the tomatoes.
You live in a part of the county where you should not have rabbit problems for long.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought I'd gotten rid of the rabbits and I didn't have to do anything because I was out there one day and I was like, well, I'm going to go shoot this stupid thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was going to get my gun, it ran out into the back pasture and a hawk. And then I could hear the squeal like a rabbit in distress, like a predator call. That's what it sounded like.
The hawk did the work for you.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, game over. We're done. And then I didn't see anything for a long time. And then I just got back from Alaska and went out. And now there was one rabbit hiding like underneath the tomato plant that took off and ran. And then I caught another one under my other tomato plants. So I got two now. So I've brought out some things from my childhood that I'm going to try to take care of them with, which is my little 177 pellet gun. So I'm going to try to shoot some rabbits with the pellet gun this time, just because they're in a position where the direction I would have to shoot in order to get them is going towards the house. And I know the pellet gun won't make it that far. So I'll try to get them with that.
On that TV show Alone, like they throw sticks at rabbits and hit them. Why don't you do something like that?
I don't have any sticks at my house, Chet.
We got a rock, a boomerang,
Longbow.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, I could take a longbow. I could probably do the longbow.
That'd be cool.
I got plenty of.
You ought to be able to throw a longbow at it and kill it. You could scare a rabbit to death. It's not that hard.
I don't know that you can.
There's the easiest animal I've ever known to kill.
Well,
extremely easy.
We'll see. Because I haven't actually.
I'll go throw a rock at it.
I haven't actually set out to kill it yet.
Yeah,
I've just seen.
I could probably kill one with a stare.
Maybe your breath.
There we go.
I definitely want to see the stare.
There, after
the
I ate
stare
that
method
pepper.
for sure.
No, but and that's so I just haven't had time to take care of anything because I've been up in Alaska for the last 2 weeks, doing some fishing with guys with Wounded War Outdoors, and we caught. It was probably one of the better years for fishing as far as I can remember, at least the last 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, just absolutely slaying fish. And I know that I've got the experience now because I've been going up there 7 years in a row. And so it's nice when you get, fresh new faces that have never done any sort of fly fishing before or anything like this. And, and then they're not catching anything and they're not catching anything. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, there's no fish in this. I was like, pull your polarized sunglasses down. There are literally probably 5,000 to 10,000 fish just in this little section right here. I said, I don't know how you're not accidentally just snagging something as you're going through, right? And so, well, whatever, get over here, professional, and show me. So get over there and throw it in, bam, fish on.
Yeah.
And then just fish on, fish on, fish on, fish on, fish on. Oh, okay, I get it. So there, a lot of it's just technique and knowing exactly how to present your fly and all that kind of stuff to get them to work with you. But I would say by day 2, they were catching these fish like you wouldn't believe, just crazy.
Yeah.
And Alaska's been pretty dry too. They haven't gotten a whole lot of rain. And ended up the last 2 days that we were there, the wind came in, the rain, and just pretty much shut everything down. And this was the first year, and I jinxed us the last day because it rained all morning, and we're sitting there on the shore eating lunch. And I think the last day it was we had clam chowder with, I think it was like a burger on the side of the river, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there at lunch and I'm like, this is the first year it hasn't been buggy.
Buggy meaning bugs everywhere?
Yeah. So they have, when the sun comes out or the wind dies down, and then temperature has to be just right. These little no-see-ums come out and swarm.
How little are they? Can you see them?
You can barely see them.
No-see-ums.
But I actually think Phil Robertson talked about this on the Unashamed podcast a few times as well. And he uses some type of Victoria's Secret perfume.
No, it's not. It's Mary Kay. It's called Skin So Soft. It's like a Mary Kay.
Mary Kay product?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to find that.
I know a Mary Kay rep.
Do you?
I'll send her your way.
Well, just all I need is that. Don't send them my way because then they keep coming. But all I need is that because
Avon.
So
Yeah.
I told
Avon
him,
calling. No, I don't know any Avon people. Sorry.
anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, I
You
think
get it on Amazon.
I probably just jinxed us. Lo and behold, we get out fishing. The rain stops. Perfect.
Yep.
For our video viewers.
Skin so soft.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I probably just jinxed this, but I mean, this doesn't look like it's clearing up anytime soon. And lo and behold, we're out there fishing for 30 minutes after lunch. The rain stopped. The wind died. It warmed up. And it was horrible.
Bugs.
Bad. And normally I would bring like a thermocell with me and I'd just put it right, I'd clip it right to my waders and just let it and they'll stay away, because I don't like smoking cigars. Cigars is the other way to do it. So I lit up a cigar. I'm puffing on that cigar and I don't know why, but it was just making my mouth water. And so like I'm drooling and it's like falling out the side of my face because I'm just trying to keep these bugs away. Although, while I'm fishing, it's whatever. And I mean,
What a sight.
it's starting to heal up now a little bit, but I mean, like there's some of the after effects, but
Yeah.
just
You see any bears while you're up there?
saw no bears this year. Not one bear.
Really?
First year I haven't seen a bear.
Well, here's something I found out last week is I basically don't watch TV anymore, like traditional TV at all.
Yeah, me either.
And I wanted something on in the background the other day, and I remembered my brother-in-law Joel talking when I was at his house for my nephew's graduation out there in North Carolina. He's just going through some of the stuff that he watched, and it was live cams, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
And he had some. They did a Western vacation this past summer, and some of the places they've been, he just had that queued up on his YouTube where you can just go Jackson, Wyoming, Tetons, Jenny Lake, and it's just a camera that's showing live what's going on there. So I was like, oh, I'll do that, and I'll pull that up. And then while I was searching, this river in Alaska webcam showed up that's at some little waterfall where all the bears come and catch the fish out of the air when they're jumping up out of the stream. And then, so I'm like, oh, this is cool. And there were a whole bunch of bears there, and there were a whole bunch of salmon swimming upstream, and they're just going to town. And the camera's remote control, and somebody's watching it, so they could zoom in when a bear catches a fish, and you can watch the bear eat it, and then they'll zoom back out, and then these bears will be play fighting over here, and then they're it's just this cool deal. And then I paid attention to what was going on, and my dog had stopped and glued to the camera, to the TV. He was just glued to it, and I'm like, what? Is Tasso, you interested in this? And he's just staring at it, mesmerized. Well, then I I told Stone, I was like, hey, Stone, man, look at Tasso. And so Stone sat down on the couch and said, hey, Tasso, let's watch this together. So then Tasso sits next to Stone, and they both are just staring at this
Live
show.
bear show.
Yeah. And then a little bit later, so, Stone moved away to college. So we're cleaning out his room, getting rid of a bunch of junk. And he had this little chair there, pulled it out of his room. We're going to get rid of it in a garage sale, whatever. I don't know. But it was sitting in our living area, and it's totally not something that we normally have there. But as soon as Tasso saw it, he jumped up in it. And then we realized that Stone let him up on the furniture in his bedroom, which, our dog isn't supposed to be on furniture. But then, we're like, whatever, we're going to get rid of it anyway. We'll let you sit in it there. A couple hours later, I come back in the room, and the dog is sitting in the chair watching the bears eat the salmon on TV. Like, I was like, he's just sitting there.
You're just chilling, watching.
Yeah. So I got like a babysitter for my dog now, just watching bears eat salmon.
Well, I guess it's better than watching the flash on the wall.
He does that too. That dude, he chases
Lights and stuff.
everything.
Yeah.
If I walk outside with him, he'll just start looking at the ground, waiting for the sun to reflect off my watch face on the shadows of the house. Yeah, he's gonna pounce on it like a cat.
Are you ever gonna take him hunting?
I don't think so. He doesn't shed water. Like he
Absorbs.
His fur absorbs water, so he'll just be soaking wet for hours. I don't want to put him in my truck like that.
Yeah.
Driving back and I don't want to leave him in the bed of the truck if it's really cold.
Yeah,
and he's still soaking wet.
Icicles when he gets back.
And then I have to bathe him because he's an inside dog. I mean, I don't know.
It'd smell funny. You'd have to dethaw his icicles.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
But, yeah, I mean, and overall it was a good trip. And one interesting thing that happened was, as the Warriors were showing up, everybody pretty much arrived at the same time in Anchorage or within a few hours of each other, but there was a few late flights. And so I'd gotten some food and had it in my room. And then, so when they showed up, they had dinner. And, they're coming to the room, and I knew one of them, but a couple of them I'd never met before. And so this one comes up to the room and opened the door, and he's like, Sergeant Amos, sure is good to see you. Or it's good to see you again. And I'm like, good to see me again. I was like, we met? He's like, oh yeah, we've met. And I was like, he was a sergeant major. And I was like, you're Sergeant Major, right? And he's like, yeah. He goes, you probably don't remember me. He goes, you were at Bethesda, or I was at Bethesda when you flew in. And he goes, I was the Sergeant Major at the Wounded Warrior Regiment. And he goes, so I know you and know your family, but you were all hopped up onto Lauded and probably don't remember me. And I was like, interesting. So it was kind of neat to have that guy on the trip. And he was a wealth of knowledge. I mean, this guy he spent 34 years in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Pretty
awesome.
spectacular. That's a long.
Yeah. That's a long time.
That's a long time. So he's the grand old man.
I mean, it's typically a long time if you're at post 20. And this
Right.
guy's 34.
34.
Wow.
So he had stories for days and days and days and days. And we knew a lot of the same people Marine Corps wise. And it was pretty good. But
Yeah, he probably knows most of the people in the Marine Corps.
at least for the last 34 years.
Yeah.
Yep. But, so that's what's been going on with me and what's been on my mind doing that trip, coming back. My chickens have all looked like chickens now. They're all kind of grown up, and peppers all over. I had to throw a bunch away, but saved a few, started a mash, and getting ready to.
Do chickens eat peppers?
I don't think that's on the list of things they can eat.
Did it flavor the meat?
Yeah, maybe.
I may need to look into that.
After they stop laying,
It's like a spicy chicken sandwich, but we didn't have to put any batter on it.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally spicy. All right. Well, thanks, Matt. We're going to take a break, and then we'll hop back into our top 3.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
And we're back.
All right. Chet, why don't you lead us off? Top 3 things, Prime movies or shows that are playing right now on Amazon Prime.
Number 3, All the Old Knives.
I haven't seen that
It's a movie.
yet.
It's got Chris Pine in it. It is not an action movie, but it's pretty awesome.
Is it like...
It's a suspense.
Is it kind of like...
It's a suspense movie
No
about...
Country for Old Men?
No, it is not. Nothing like that. No.
Because it lends itself to look like that with the trailer and everything.
Well, I'm just saying, if you watch this thing, don't expect an action movie, but it is a well done, directed, acted, plot. It's well done. I can't say much more, just because I don't want to. It's suspenseful.
What's the name of it again?
All the Old Knives.
When was it made?
This year?
Oh, is it new?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Came out this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. It doesn't show up in. You probably just go in there and go to action, and then you ignore all the good action movies that involve lightsabers, and then and laser guns and swords.
Laser swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, skip right over those.
number 2, Reacher. The
Series.
Jack Reacher series.
Not
is-
the Jack Reacher movie
No.
with
No.
Mr. Cruz.
No. The Jack Reacher series. That's a lot of fun.
All right.
Number 1, Terminal List. Based on the book written by Jack Carr. Chris Pratt is the star. James Reese.
James
character.
Reese.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. It's a great.
Yeah, it's a really good
It
series.
set a record. I mean, I imagine everybody in our audience has probably already watched it, but
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't take me too long to watch through it either.
Very good.
I've got a couple honorable mentions too, so
We'll get to those
later.
in a moment.
So based on your list there, because those are all Amazon originals.
Yes, they are. Good observation there.
I know my movies.
No, you don't.
I do.
You hadn't even seen half of the movies that we talk about.
Because they suck. I've started them. I just didn't finish them.
Whatever.
You better be glad Audrey didn't have that attitude when she was dating you, because I'm sure your first impressions weren't all that great. All right, Troy.
I'll go next because he's going to blow us away with his list.
Right.
I'm sure.
Right.
Well, get ready.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3 is The Tinder Bar.
Oh, that's that Ben Affleck movie, right?
Directed by George Clooney, Ben Affleck, and Christopher Lloyd is actually in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, he plays...
Great Scott.
I can't remember if it's an old uncle or old grandpa or... Yeah, it's been a minute.
An old something.
Yeah.
That dude's
An
been
old
around.
faucet.
I mean, he's got to be. How old is that guy?
He's probably in his late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Why don't you fact check that, Tina?
Because one of my more favorite movies is a Jack Nicholson movie called Going South.
Going South, yeah.
And Christopher Lloyd plays one of the sheriffs in that movie. And I mean, that's an old movie.
83.
83.
Yeah.
So not that old,
But I mean,
but old.
But yeah, I mean, 83, but that, we're talking, that's almost, 37, 36 years ago. And
Well, he played on Hollywood had like 40 and 50-year-olds playing old people back in the day.
Yeah. Now
Oh,
we got
yeah.
old people playing old people.
Yeah. And
Which
then,
is great.
But and they also, and it's still like this today, like your 20-year-olds are playing teenagers.
yeah, yeah. Well, and who else was getting on the Going South track? Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
He was in that one as well.
Good stuff.
I watched that movie recently again, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tinder Bar is about a boy with a deadbeat dad and his uncles. I think he plays his uncle, steps in and helps raise him. It's really good. Number 2, The Quiet Place Part 2. I did not think they could make a sequel as good as the original, but I think they pulled it off.
It's pretty good.
I thought it was very well done.
Yeah.
Very suspenseful. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1 on my list is Terminal List. It is incredible. I thought Chris Pratt did a fantastic job, as opposed to some of his other roles that he's played. Have been kind of the same role, kind of the same character. I thought he stepped out of his element here and just nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some points during the show I was like, that is Chris Pratt, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, but he just did a really good job
Yeah.
in this show. So
Cool.
yeah,
With the Winklers,
Yeah.
even though,
Jack Carr never carried one.
and they probably weren't used in the manner in which he used.
No. The so our audience knows what we're talking about. The Winkler axe, combat axe, that's Jack Carr's logo. It's 2 Winkler axes,
yeah. I
across
think you
each other.
mentioned that. You mentioned that before.
Yeah. Well, Jack Carr never carried an axe in combat, but that's his logo for his book. And more power to him. I mean, I'd like to use one of those as a logo for something I've got, but
They're pretty awesome.
yeah, it's kind of a little inside joke with that community.
All right, Matt, blow us away with your list here.
Number 3, The Chosen.
Yes.
The Chosen is actually on Amazon.
Season 1.
Yep.
Yep. That was one of my honorable mentions.
I mean, I guess it's on Amazon.
How can you argue it? If you go
It's
to Amazon,
on Amazon.
it's there.
Okay, yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It's just I watched it on the Chosen app. I just
Yeah,
I
but-
didn't even think about that.
Well, I may have watched The Quiet Place in the movie theater.
You could
Or I
have.
might have watched it
You
on
could've.
Netflix.
It's possible.
All right. Jeez.
All I'm saying is,
It released on Prime first. Quiet Place 2 did. I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was a movie release.
I don't remember.
I don't know. This isn't what released on Prime first.
Either way,
Well, I liked your list because it was all Amazon originals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to fact check my number 2. Just because I want to be correct. Go ahead.
I'm
Matt.
good with it.
I'm good. It
it
stays.
doesn't matter because it's there.
It definitely plays.
Number 2, 1883.
Terrible series. I hated it.
You didn't like 1883?
I
I
tried
can't-
really hard. I really tried.
I
hard.
love it.
When I stopped.
Phenomenal series.
How many episodes is it? 8.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
first
When
season's
I
8.
stopped, episode 7. Like I'm trying my hardest, and you know what? I'm not even gonna watch the last episode. I just can't anymore.
I finished it because I was like, I just want to see her die. And yes,
you
I
did.
just
You saw in the first episode.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
I wanted to see her last breath.
Yeah.
It's twisted.
It was overacted.
And then
man.
they ruined it on the extra scene. Like, oh my gosh, it was so dumb.
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
I really liked it.
I liked what it was trying to do, but
As far as the acting and everything in the show, I thought it was great. I thought they did a
other
great.
the accents.
Well, I thought I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was well put together. It was a well done,
Produced.
well produced. The imagery was great. Whoever the DP was did a great job. But the story, oh, dude, it's just not there. Especially
It did
episode 6, 7, and 8.
It went too far on. It telegraphed everything. Like, you knew what was going to happen before it happened. Like, I don't know.
It just kind of takes the place of an old Western for me, but I mean,
Yeah,
and that's kind of.
that would have been a great movie. Like, that should have been a movie. That should not have been.
Oh no, it should definitely be a
8
series with a season 2, so I can continue to watch
8
it.
hours of that.
No,
It might have been 10. I think it's.
Well,
10.
you and
10.
Jordan can talk about it because he liked it too.
I mean, we may be off. I mean, I definitely know that we're gonna have some people disagree with me on that, but I'm
Probably the majority of the audience, but
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Doubtful.
well, at least country people anyway.
Oh no! Why? Because everyone talked like this in 1883.
I don't recall that.
That's
It's gold,
exactly
I
what
tell
it
you.
was.
Gold.
That's exactly what it
It
was.
sounds like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs they did find the gold. And then number 1, The Office.
The Office. Is it on like the...
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Are you sure that's
Yep.
not on NBC Peacock?
Nope. I can go right to it and
It's
play it on Prime.
probably on both.
Oh, okay.
I think there for a while it was on the Peacock app. And then
I would love to hear from our audience on some shows or movies that are on Amazon Prime that are originals that we might not have listed or know about.
I got a couple, this is one of the weakest top 3 you've ever had.
hey, this is
Like, really?
these are my favorite shows to watch on Prime.
There are like 15 things that I would watch in front of 2 of yours.
Which two?
1883 in The Office. Like I would, if it's like, oh, what do I have to
See,
do?
but the Office for me is like Seinfeld for you.
No,
That's the relationship that I have with that show.
it's not about relationship. It's about quality and sticking to the mission.
What's sticking to what mission?
Comedy. It's a comedy, but they try to make you cry
No, it's
because they
what
don't
I'm
know
saying
how to
is my
be funny all the
relationship
time.
with that show is like yours. How you feel about Seinfeld,
Okay,
as passionate as you are about Seinfeld, is as
But
passionate
I'm
as I
right.
am about The Office, and I'm right. But I do like the Terminal List, but I see that there's probably going to be some more seasons, so I don't want to give it the grade A just yet. Season 1 was great.
no, you got to go to the book. So here's the neat thing about Jack Carr is that, and I found he was on Mike Rowe's podcast, which was enlightening, and Mike Rowe really made a point out of this. Like when you asked Jack Carr when he was a teenager in high school, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go be a Navy SEAL for 20 years, and then I want to get out, and then I want to write books, and then I want to make movies. And the dude was a Navy SEAL for 20 years, and he got out, and then he wrote New York Times bestseller books. He's got several books in his
Now
James
he's
Reese
making
series.
series.
And then he's
Movies.
involved with the production process. So one of the neat things about, or the bad things in Hollywood, you buy a script, you buy a book, you buy a script, make a script out of the book, and then you take liberties with it. Well, that didn't happen with this. So it's actually sticking to the way he wrote the book. That Chris Pratt was really big on that too, because he's on the production side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's only going to get better. Especially because they had 1.6 billion minutes of the show watched. It's like one of the all-time most streamed TV series. Is that? Did I hear that right?
I'm
It
not
set
sure
some
of
records.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So
but
production value, like the cost of, they're going to invest as much money as they want to in this thing.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny that it got rated that high, because like what is it, like Rotten Tomatoes and whatever gave it like such a low rating, and then everybody
No, the Rotten Tomatoes viewer score was like 99%. The critic score.
that's what I mean, the
Yeah.
critics.
Nobody listens to critics anymore because critics care
just-
about
but it-
agenda, not quality.
Right, but that's what's funny to me.
Yeah.
you got to become a critic and write. My good friend Don writes very well critic. What do you call those?
Critiqued.
Reviews of movies on his Facebook personal page. It's really good.
See, I could probably write reviews until they come out with a new Star Wars, and then
Whatever,
I
dude.
critique it to like, this movie sucks.
You're
I'll
gonna
never
lose-
go
You
see
wouldn't
it.
even ever go see it.
With
so.
your top threes, I don't know if people would even read reviews
Trust
after
me.
they go watch.
Trust
Ooh,
me.
I got to go watch 1883. Oh, that Matt's not that bright.
So, but here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the ones that you put up, because I've never heard of them. So other than Terminal List and
Reacher?
Reacher, I've
That's
watched
the only I gave.
but
There's
the other
one of them I didn't.
I've heard of 2 out of 3 of yours, but I'm going to go watch the other one.
I'm going to go watch that one. The Tinder Bar.
Yeah.
I know I've scrolled across that, but I don't think I really even did anything, because I thought it had something to do with Tinder, like the app.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Okay. What do you got something?
Quiet Place Part 2 did have a premiere in the movie theater, It was released in the United States on May 28th, 2021, 45 days after its theatrical debut on Paramount Plus. Same place 1883 was first released. Paramount Plus. You can now watch them both on Amazon Prime.
Well, you can watch Paramount Plus on Prime.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can do that with ABC, NBC, like any of those.
You got any honorable mentions?
I do not.
I do. Reacher was on my honorable mentions, and Terminal List was on my honorable mentions. Uncut. No, that was Netflix. Never mind. Yeah, I think that was it.
So I've got one. Jack Ryan. They've got 2 seasons of Jack Ryan out.
Oh, I started
John
that.
Krasinski.
He's such a good actor, but I really I didn't get into Jack Ryan as much as I did Reacher. I thought Reacher was better.
Well, which season of Jack Ryan? Because there's 2 seasons out already.
All of them.
I like them. I'll watch them all. And then, are you guys fans of The Godfather?
Not in particular.
Never mind. I don't even know why I do podcasts with you guys. Seriously?
I don't rewatch them over and over and over again. No, but am I a fan of the 3 films? Yes.
How about the first one?
The first one is by far the best.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree. They have a series on Prime called The Offer, and it's a fictional story that's based on truth about producing the Godfather.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it's extremely entertaining. It's got an extremely large amount of foul language. Like, I couldn't even believe. I just, there's no way people talk like that back in the, 70s, 60s, 70s?
Sure they did. Sexual revolution.
No, dude.
Changed the world.
There's no way. Like, you really, like, they had to have a quota because the script writers they're probably sitting around like, I bet you can't fit 500 of them into this episode. F-bombs. Watch me.
Oh, gosh.
But anyway, if you take that out, that's a phenomenal series. I also had The Chosen as a honorable mention because it is a Prime thing.
I did watch one thing that was a Prime original. I watched it this spring. It was The Wheel of Time. If you're into that fantasy type stuff, it was all right. I will say it was entertaining. I wouldn't say it was amazing. You have to watch it, but it was entertaining. So The Wheel of Time would be an honorable mention for me.
I just finished up. Kind of over the last few weeks, got bits and pieces in of the Lord of the Rings trilogy and just finished that up a couple of days ago.
Have either of you? I know Matt hasn't. Chet, have you started the prequels, the Lord of the Rings prequels?
Are they out?
I thought they were like released recently.
Or they are going to release recently.
Oh, okay.
I plan to.
Yeah.
But again, same thing. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But
right.
I don't know if it's out yet.
All right. Well, let's move on. Chet, got a good word for us?
Good word. We're get the prize is the good word. Day 31 of the Blue Book on The Chosen. And it's about Judas again. So last week we talked about Judas. We're talking about Judas again this week. Matthew chapter 7, verse 21. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. So just because you're around Jesus, and this is where Judas was, it doesn't mean that you're going to heaven. Just because you're around good things, just because you go to church, just because you proclaim to be a disciple, it doesn't mean anything. It really is about your heart. If you think about, a lot of characterizations of Judas were, probably he's walking around in the shadows with a dark cloak and a hood over his head. But his behavior among the disciples, walking around with the disciples, actually being with Jesus in his ministry, was indistinguishable from the others. And yet he ended up, being the one that betrayed Jesus. So just because you are where you are doesn't mean that your eternity is secure. It's really a matter of the heart. And it's not because you do bad things, because you can go back into scripture. You look at David and being described as a man after God's own heart, but David had sin, the story of Bathsheba. And then you also look at Psalm 51 where he repents from that sin. You look at Aaron in Exodus. Aaron was the one that was watching the Israelites and leading the Israelites when Moses was up getting the 10 Commandments. And what were they doing? Down there, Aaron's like, oh, okay, let's build a golden calf. Yeah, sure. If that's what you guys want to do, let's do it. Yet Aaron was the one that led him into the promised land. So there's not necessarily people doing bad things means that you're done, right? But it's a matter of your heart. If you look at the devotion that Judas had, his devotion wasn't with Jesus. His presence may have been there. He's with all the disciples. He's actually doing things that Jesus asked him to do. Following, gave up everything. He's going to follow him, but he wasn't truly devoted to him, because in the end, he's going to betray him for money, right? So if you're truly devoted, that doesn't mean you're not going to slip up. That just means that your heart is ultimately with him. You repent and you continue. In this case, Judas is like, nope, I'm not fully devoted. I'm just going to follow him until it's convenient not to. And it got awful convenient when some money was tossed his way.
And that became his new God.
For a short amount of time.
Very
For a little
short.
bit.
That's a good word.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.